Welcome to our first show that we're doing. I'm real excited and very, very happy that you're all with us tonight. Looks like we got a nice full group. Could you bump up the lights so I could see? Oh! Stop that I will not yield. No! I know. Why don't we paint that wall first?
Oh my goodness, the laughter. Carol Burnett, welcome to CBS2.
Thank you. Thanks.
And congratulations on celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Carol Burnett Show.
I can't wrap my head around how fast the time went.
Oh my goodness.
It's unbelievable.
Well, we can't either, and that's because of you. You just made it go like warp speed.
Yeah.
But what was it like taping the variety in the show's original soundstage?
Oh, it was wonderful because I came from the Gary Moore show when I was on his show, and that was a comedy variety musical show, and we did it as a live show. And so when I got my show out here in Hollywood, several of the same people who were on the Gary Moore show took the chance and came out. Our director, our producer, our head writer, our choreographer, all of those people, even one of the lead dancers, moved out to be with us so that we really had no labor pains in developing our show. We went right from Gary's show into knowing exactly how it would run and how we would do it. So it was highly organized, and it was like a school schedule. 10 o'clock we'd read the script, 11 o'clock we'd have music rehearsal, 12 o'clock we'd have lunch, 2 o'clock we'd start staging the sketches and so forth, so that I never worked that hard or that long. The hours were never long.
Wow.
At all. And and then when we taped the show on Friday, we'd do 2 shows, like you would do on Broadway, a matinee and an evening performance with 2 different audiences. And we'd be out in time to take our guests to dinner.
Wow. What a life.
You have mentioned in the past that you love the family sketches, that
Yes.
they're among your favorites.
Yes.
And here's a clip we would love for you to reminisce about what inspired the characters, Eunice, Ed, and Mom.
Oh.
You are trying to cheat. I know where he was because I watched this board like a hawk.
All right! Let's just move him back the number of spaces that I moved him forward.
She's right.
How many spaces did you move it?
Well, how the hell should I know?
The best.
Well, it's funny, Vicki, we hired her right out of high school. She was 18.
Oh my. So cute.
And so, because we were planning on doing a sketch where Harvey and I would be a married couple raising my kid's sister, and she looked a lot like me, so we hired her. She really had not much experience at all, but she learned her craft, get this, in front of about 30 million people every week. So she started out playing my kid's sister and wound up being my mother.
Good point.
You know,
You're right.
But what happened was I read that sketch, the first one, The Family, and I thought it was really great writing because it was very heavy but funny, you know, and it went places that no other variety show I'd ever seen went to. And Eunice, excuse me, spoke to me, and I thought, that's who I want to be, because they had written it for me to play Mama at first. And so then we said, well, we'll get an older actress to play Mama. And our costume designer, Bob Mackey, said, oh, why don't we let Vicki do it? I'll take off her false eyelashes, put her in a blue wig, in a fat suit. She can be in glasses, wipe the lipstick off, and she'll be Mama. Because we never figured we would do it more than one time.
Really?
But it took off.
It sure
and
did.
what I did was, when I read it, I thought about my relatives from Texas and Arkansas, so I put that accent into it. The writers didn't write it that way at all. And then Vicki and Harvey followed suit. And I remember when we did it in rehearsal for the crew and the writers and everything, and we started talking like this, you know, and doing it that way. The writers who wrote that, they were horrified. They said, what are you doing? You're going to alienate the entire South. You know? And I said, but it just seems like it's that kind of a situation for me, you know. And it worked, and the audience really, they dug it for the most part. Some people didn't like it; it was a little too heavy for them. But we wound up doing, I think about 30, 35 of them over the years, and Vicki just got better and better.
Oh my goodness, yes. I thought it was so endearing. You know.
Yeah.
Now at the anniversary special taping, many people complimented your comedic genius in allowing the light to shine on other people, spreading the jokes around. I personally loved how you all seem to make each other laugh.
Well, are you going to show
Yes,
something?
we have something here, Carol.
Oh, you didn't see it.
No, when he grabbed you.
Yeah, well, but the thing is, that was the first time I saw Harvey in that outfit. He didn't, he waited, you know, in rehearsal we never saw it or anything. He waited until we were taping. And then that was so I was just, I mean, I couldn't help it.
Oh, it was hilarious. But you helped him create that character, right?
No, not really.
You didn't?
No, the
Okay.
writers created that character, and Harvey just took it and ran with it, you know. And but what we did was we had a true rep company. I learned that from doing the Gary Moore show and from watching Sid Caesar all those years with Howie Morris and Carl Reiner, and how you have to let the other folks score a touchdown, because that
Love
only
that.
makes your show better.
Right.
You know, my name was you know, at the head, but there would be times when I'd be supporting Harvey or Tim, or Vicki would be supporting me, or you know, that kind of thing. I got that actually from the Gary Moore show. I remember we would sit, and it was his show, the Gary Moore show. We would sit around the table, you know, and be reading the script for that week, and he would look at it and he'd say, you know, I have a punchline here, but give this to Carol. I think she can say it funnier than I can.
Oh, great.
So that was the generosity of, and you know, or Durward Kirby, who was also on the show. Give this to Durward. You know, they can say this punchline funnier, but that's smart.
Yes, it is.
That's smart, because you know, sometimes a lot
Sharing
of
the
people want to, you know, rule the roost and hog everything, and they don't want anybody else to get a laugh. Big mistake.
It's not as natural, is it?
No, it's not, and it's selfish, and it's not as much fun.
So a real team effort, and one of your teammates, of course, the great Tim Conway,
Yes.
developed Mrs. Huygens.
Yes.
And let's take a look at your character with him.
Mrs. Huygens, I wonder if you could come in.
Hello?
Mrs. Huygens, I wonder if
Hello?
Mrs. Huygens, I wonder if you.
Hello?
Such a charming pair. You had to love. They were both from completely different worlds.
Totally. Well, I would say the IQ fairy never visited Mrs. Wiggins, you know. But Tim created those characters, but at first he wrote Mrs. Wiggins, which is why he gave her Mrs., to be this kind of doddering old lady.
Oh.
And I went into costume fittings that week, and Bob Mackey, our genius, said, you know, you've done a bunch of old ladies recently. Let's make her into a bimbo. And he did, with, you know, the push-up bra and the blonde wig and the tight skirt. And he made the skirt really tight at the knees so that I would walk funny in the stilettos, but it bagged in the behind. And I said, Bob, I'm flat back there. You're going to have to take this in. And he said, no, stick your butt into it. And that's how that walk happened.
Okay.
That's Bob Mackey.
Wow.
And you know what, Carol, speaking of Bob Mackey, we loved how you walked in the pencil skirt, being Mrs. Wiggins. And I, quite frankly, I love the gum chewing. In fact, to this day, I say it Bill's character. Just ask Carol Burnett and her Mrs. Wiggins. Okay? But you know what? It's amazing that Bob Mackey made, from what we understand, 60 to 70 costumes a week.
Yes. Oh, do the math, as we say in the special. 276 shows over 11 years. He designed up to or more than 17,000 costumes.
Wow.
I mean, that's...
But this, Carol, this takeoff was one of the best.
Oh, I know what you're going to do.
What brings you to Tara?
The gown is gorgeous.
Thank you. I saw it in the window and I just couldn't resist it.
What a fabulous line.
Well, I mean, that line is just great. I mean, the
No
writing in
question.
that whole sketch, you know, that sketch was 20 minutes long.
Yeah, I watched all of it.
You know, 20 minutes, and it was brilliantly written, but they had written for me to come down the stairs with the draperies just kind of hanging on me. And Bob Mackey said, you know, that's not that funny. The whole sketch is really funny. We've got to really make a statement. So he thought of the curtain rod thing.
Yeah,
and
that was
remember going into
priceless.
costume fitting that week, and he said, I've got an idea for the curtain dress. And he showed it to me, and I said, this is going to be probably one of the funniest sight gags in the history of television, and it is.
No question. You always need a Kleenex. At our house, we always had Kleenex when we watched your show. And you've got parents, like you talked about, and the young folks, like us at the time, and we both laughed at the same time and everything.
Well, it was appointment television, and that's a lovely thing when the families would get together and watch.
Yes.
You know, our Saturday night lineup was pretty brilliant with All in the Family, MASH, Mary Tyler Moore, Bob Newhart, and us.
And
people stayed home.
Yeah.
That's right. That was Sunday night, like you say, appointment viewing.
Yeah, it was.
Well, you know, in addition to being among the show's most talked about skits, that curtain dress costume is so iconic that it's now in the Smithsonian.
Yes.
How about that?
It's in the Smithsonian, yeah.
Who knew?
Who knew? Well, and Bob, you know, he's a brilliant designer, but he said, because he designs regular clothes too, you know, and he said it probably is going to be on his tombstone, the guy who came up with the Gone with the Wind curtain rod dress. That's all anybody ever, he laughs about that.
That's great.
You talked about Vicki Lawrence. And,
yes.
As you mentioned, just a teenager when she joined the show.
Yeah.
Here she is attempting, I say attempting, to answer an audience member question.
She's a little nervous because she's never had to come out just and she doesn't know what she's going to say or anything. Your hands are ice cold. Do you have any questions you'd like to ask Vicki?
Oh,
There's
no.
a little boy there.
How old are you?
I don't know.
Both you and Vicki, you're the only two that were on the show through the entire, from beginning to end.
That's right, yeah.
And tell us how she became your protege and what would your advice be to young comedians in today's climate?
Well, I'll tell you, in today's climate, Vicki, they would not let me hire Vicki.
Why?
Because she had no experience, and she was 18, didn't have a resume, didn't, you know, and all. But back then, in the good old days, the network said, okay, go do what you do, and we trust you, and it'll work or it won't. And if it doesn't, you're canceled. So, you know, they left us alone. And so that enabled Vicki to learn, and Harvey took her under his wing and taught her accents and how to deal with props and how to listen to the other actor as opposed to waiting for your cue to speak and things like that, you know. And I found she wrote me a fan letter, and she was talking about being in a contest in Inglewood for the title role of Miss Fireball of Inglewood. And
that's funny.
I just got, I liked the letter, and she enclosed a picture of herself. Actually, it was an article in the local newspaper with a photograph of her. And we, again, were thinking of doing this sketch with Harvey and me as a couple, having raised my kid sister. So I thought, I think we should go see that contest. And we did. We saw the contest, she won, and we got acquainted, and so we called her the following summer, because we hadn't gone on the air yet, to come in and audition. And she did, and we just said, okay, she's a little wet behind the ears, you know, and the network allowed us to hire her. That would never happen today.
That's a great story. Yeah. Okay. Now, we talked about your comedic moments with other cast members, but you had people in their living rooms howling from your expressions or your live reaction to surprises, like this one, Carol.
Of the ladies in the show.
What were you thinking when that happened?
Well, I'm singing this song and I'm hearing extra laughs from the audience, and I figured something's going on behind me, and I turned around, and there it was, and I was laughing so hard, and then everything stopped, and I looked over to the orchestra, and I said, "You want to pick it up from number 1 or number 2?"
Oh, yes. Brilliant. Brilliant.
You guys spent a lot of time laughing on the show, and I know that Harvey made you laugh, and Tim and Vicki and Lyle. But who else makes you laugh? As a funny person, what makes Carol Burnett laugh?
I'm a great audience.
Yeah.
I'm a great audience, and back in the day, of course, when he was just starting out, he still makes me laugh. As Steve Martin, and all the ladies. I mean, when I got started, there was really mainly Lucy. But now we've got Tina and Amy Poehler and Maya Rudolph, and oh my God, there's so many I can't even begin to express how grateful I am that the women are, getting their shot at it, because they didn't want me to do a comedy variety show.
Oh gosh, you were the first. You paved the way, and look at. For everybody else.
Was it because you were a woman? They just didn't take you as being somebody capable of being funny?
They said, Carol, a comedy variety show is a man's game. It's Sid Caesar, it's Milton Berle, was then Dean Martin, and I remember the network said, "It's not for you gals."
How about that? Well, we can go on and on about that, can't we, Carol?
Hello.
Hello is right. Well, you are still working.
Yeah.
People always wonder, well, they haven't seen the Carol Burnett show in such a long time. So we know we talked about your special, but you're still working. Mm-hmm. I want to talk about, we're going to talk about you performing at the Dolby Theater, and you're going to be at some other places around
San Diego and then Phoenix,
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here's the question. You always ended your show the same way.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, I talk about it on the special because they asked me that question because I do 3 questions before we go into the body of the show. It was a signal for my grandmother. When I got my first television show, I called her, Collect. I was in New York and she was in California. And I said, "Nanny, I'm going to be on TV Saturday. You got to watch me." And she said, "Well, you have to say hello to me." And I said, "I don't think they're going to let me say hello, Nanny." So we worked this out that I would pull my ear.
Oh, great.
In fact, that was 100 years ago. This earlobe was measured.
No, really?
A few years ago. It's like 1 millimeter longer than this one.
From you pulling on it?
Yeah.
That's a fact. And now so many people do it. It's almost unnatural for people that watch you over the years. Yeah.
I was just going to add that, we saw those costumes and the curtain rod and Bob Mackie saying, "Let's try this and let's try that." Whether it was the beginning of the series run or at the very end. Was there ever a point where you said, I think maybe this time we've crossed the line, I'd rather not do that?
No.
Never?
Never.
You were yes to everything.
In fact, I just trusted him and his eye. It was just brilliant. And after the first 3 shows, he used to come in to rehearsal and show me drawings of what the characters and all. I said, "You don't have to do that. Just surprise me when I come in for a fitting."
Wow, so you're just that confident. You let people do what they wanted to do.
Well, we hired the best.
There you go.
And you let them do it.
There you go. Carol, since you said we can call you Carol.
Yeah.
The Tarzan call? You want to do it?
Okay.
We'll do it with you.
Will you do? She's worked on this for her whole life.
Yeah, my whole life, absolutely.
You want to do it together?
Yes, ma'am, if you want to.
You ready?
Where are we going to start?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very good. It was.
Do you know what? That is the best of my career. The best moment. Thank you
Jack.
so much.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
Thanks, Rick.
Such a pleasure.
Thank you.
And we're so glad we had this time together.
Yes.
Back at you.
Congratulations again
Thank you.
on your show's golden anniversary.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mwah.